What's up, guys? It's Super Sensei here, and my real name is Stefan. So we gonna do Wansee Entertainment, and got good videos. I watch a couple of them, but I ain't watch all of them yet. But I just watched some of them. I just know that some of them on my list, and and checking the link in the description below. Wansee Entertainment, and it's right there. And subscribe to Stefan and like this video. And if y'all like it, that's good. Alright, so the story called True Higgins Horror Story. I think that's what that called. So we're gonna get right to it. This time I ain't playing no game.
My name is Jude, and I'm 27 years old. I've always loved going camping ever since I was a young boy. Some of my earliest memories were of me sitting around the fire with Mom, Dad, and grandfathers, singing songs and telling stories. Whenever we told stories, we always ended the night on a scary story, right before going to bed. And my grandfather's stories were always the best. His descriptions gave me chills as he described vivid characters and monsters from his imagination. I always loved to hear his stories, but once, when I was 10 years old, something happened that scares me to this day.
Oh, really?
One cool autumn day, my parents decided to take me camping with my grandfather, as we always did around that time of year. We arrived at the campsite around 6 o'clock. And on the way in, I saw that the campsite we were driving into was different than the one we usually camped at. The entrance to the campground seemed old, and a lichen-covered stone sign with the name of the grounds greeted us as we drove in. We arrived and set up our tents. After eating dinner and cleaning up, we sat around the campfire as usual to tell our stories. I can't remember all of the stories told, except for the last. My grandfather's story. I remember the smell of the burning wood and burnt orange sunlight casting long shadows off.
Not to be racist and thing, but I'm just saying, why? It's like black people don't never go to camp, but white people do. No cat, no be racist stuff, huh?
Into the trees behind us as he began to tell his tale. He started by saying that it was a true story from his childhood, and he had waited to tell it to me until I was old enough. This grabbed my attention, as usually my grandfather told fake stories, and never about himself. He said that he had been camping at the same campsite we were staying at when his story occurred. He started by saying the campground had been built back in the 1930s by CCC workers during the Great Depression, which, looking back, explained the oldness of the park. But at the time, as a kid, I really didn't care. He said that one night, around 1960-something, while camping with his father, he was fishing at the lake down at the end of the long hiking trail that led back to the campground. His dad told him it was time to leave, and they started off down the trail. As he was walking, he began to feel a strange sensation, as if he was being followed. He turned back, but supposedly saw nothing several times. He kept walking until he said he was stopped by a long, eerie moan rippling out from behind the trees. He described it as sounding like a ghost or a person being slowly injured. He and his dad stopped in their tracks. His dad apparently tried to tell him it was a coyote, but my grandfather knew better. He told me it wasn't a coyote. He believed it was something else. Something more sinister. Nevertheless, after this encounter, he returned back to the campsite with his dad and never saw or heard anything else. He claimed that this was true, and obviously he wouldn't be telling this to us if he hadn't been affected by it. But to me, it seems silly. Scared by a noise? Come on. Anyway, about 2 days later, I was walking back to the site with my grandfather from a long day of hiking and picking wild berries in the nearby forest. Both of us were carrying heavy baskets full of berries to bring home. The sun was setting and I noticed the long shadows peering out from behind the trees. As it began to grow darker, dead darker, the trail seemed to grow longer and longer. I began to feel a weird sensation in my stomach, like I was being watched. After about 5 minutes, the feeling began to grow and I looked at my grandfather. He looked right back at me with the same fearful eyes. I was in shock. Did he feel the same feeling? Then I remembered his story about the way he felt the night he heard the noise. I began to walk faster, and so did my grandfather, without saying a word. After about 20 minutes, it was completely dark, and our arms ached for carrying the berries up the trail. Right as I turned a corner, I heard a long, eerie moan. My heart stopped as I froze in fear. My grandfather looked at me and said, "It's time to go." With that, we began wailing swiftly down the trail as fast as we could without dropping our berries. Just as I began to relax, I heard it again. Only this time, it was much louder. It sounded like someone being murdered. It was terrifying. It came from directly behind us, and I felt a burning sensation in the back of my head. I dared not look back. I sat in fear, wondering of what could have made the noise, when suddenly I heard my grandfather scream, "Run!" I whipped my head around, and in the dark, foggy light, I squinted and I saw a tall, slender black shadow dart between the trees about 100 feet behind us on the trail. I instantly dropped my bucket and ran like the wind down the trail as fast as I could. My grandfather was behind me. I became worried about him, as he was an old man, and I was afraid he might hurt himself running down the rocky trail. But I didn't stop, nor did he until we reached the campsite. That night, I sat in my tent, heart racing, thinking about what could have made that noise. After we came back home, we never returned to the old campsite. And to this day, that experience still haunts me.
I ain't gonna lie to myself. I think that little tall thing did kill somebody. So I think he really did. So alright, we gonna see another Wansee entertainment. My creepy guy stalking me through TikTok. We gonna see that. This better be good. It's I just know I seen some of them, like just some of them, but not.
This happened pretty recent, about 3 weeks ago. Myself and 3 friends were hanging out at a shopping center one evening. We were messing around posting clips on TikTok. Then one of my friends started laughing, and I asked her what she was laughing at. She told me that guy behind us kept staring at me. When I turned around, it was some older guy just watching me. He had black sunglasses, a cap, an old Adidas tracksuit with scuffed up shoes, and had a disgusting looking beard. My friends thought it was hilarious, but I found it really weird. Then another one of my friends said she thinks that guy lives on her street, about a few houses down from her. She said that he actually follows her on TikTok. At that point, I quickly got my phone out to check if he was following me, and he was. I had to block him because he seemed a bit creepy. We went to get McDonald's before we went home, and I received a message on TikTok from someone. It was that guy who had been following us. His name was Greg, and he wrote, "Why did you block me?" With 2 emojis. One was a crying face, and the other one was an angry face. He had actually created another account that day in the shopping center. I blocked that account as well, hoping that would be the end of it. I didn't mention it to my friends this time, knowing they would just laugh. That night, I was up late and had Netflix on in the background as I was chatting with my friends on Facebook while scrolling through TikTok. got up to use the bathroom, and when I returned, I had 3 messages from my friends, all saying the same thing. All were things like, "Who's in your room?" and "What's up with your last post?" I asked them what they were talking about, and they told me to check my TikTok, so I did. It was a clip of my bedroom. It was a clip of someone picking up my phone and recording the inside of my room. At that point, I heard a creaking. Then I heard a man's voice say, "Sorry. Please don't scream." In turn to see my closet door slightly open. I started to scream when the same guy who had been following us burst out of my closet and tried to cover my mouth. Thank God I screamed and it was enough for my parents to hear. They came upstairs and my dad tackled the guy to the floor. The police were called and he was arrested. We were informed that the guy had straight up admitted to stalking and breaking and entering. One of my friends pointed out, if I go back and look at the post on TikTok from when we were in the shopping center, you can see Greg is in almost all of those pictures, somewhere in the background. I haven't heard what's going to happen to Greg yet, but I just hope he won't ever come near us again.
Well, creepy guy was stalking on TikTok. Yeah, it was. So I already seen that one, the other one. I didn't see this one yet. Oh, yeah.
I am a girl, and I had the most horrible experience when I was 16. Well, there was a park that I loved to go to and hang out at with my friends. But one day, a girl around 14 or 15 years old came near me and asked me if I wanted to come with her and some other girls. Usually, I would have said yes, but there was something about this girl that just didn't feel right, so I said no. A month after that, there was some news about missing girls. The town where I lived in was sort of small, so it was a serious issue for a while. One day, while hanging with my friends, I saw that creepy girl again, and she was playing with little girls. I'm talking like 4 or 5-year-old girls. I was confused. Why would a 14-year-old be playing with them? Later, when I checked again, all the little girls had gone somewhere, including the creepy girl. I saw the little girl's parents looking for them. Then, I saw the creepy girl walking away, so me and my friends decided to follow her. We arrived and saw the girl getting into a black van, so I took photos and called the police. The next day, the police said the car belonged to a man who lived in a boat nearby. Me and my friends decided to go to the docks, and after searching like detectives, we saw the van parked in front of a big yacht. The dock in our village was a pretty calm place where only a few people came by. After checking if someone was there, we went into the yacht. The moment we got in, we noticed a disgusting smell coming from the bottom part of the boat. We went down, fearing that we would find dead bodies or something like that. But anyway, we found the area and we started searching until I heard my friend Jessica scream. She pointed to a container with her trembling finger. We looked down and found the most horrifying and disgusting scene in my life. Inside the container, there were human parts, eyes, and organs. I almost puked and felt like I wanted to faint. And in that moment, we feared that this was where the girls who were missing last month had gone. I checked outside, nervous, but fortunately, there weren't people around us. So we got the hell out of there as fast as we could and called the police immediately. 1 week later, we found out the little girls that we saw in the park were actually kidnapped and murdered in the boat basement. The one responsible for this action was punished with a death sentence. Until today, the memory of the image in my head of the container makes me feel like I want to puke. And me and my friends learned to never try to play like detectives again and to mind our own business.
That was nasty. What? A coney? What about burrito or pizza down? Or any food that's down there? You said that Daddy asked me, do I feel like making you a coney? It's other food. Alright, see you later.